Rudy Giuliani was hit with new allegations this week of improper groping of former Trump White House aide Cassidy Hutchinson. Hutchinson made these claims in her new book that is coming out very soon. The book is called Enough. Cassidy Hutchinson, of course, by the way, was Mark Meadows' chief of staff. Chief of staff to the chief of staff, basically. She gained national attention last year when she testified in front of the January 6th Select Committee. She had been a little non-compliant with the committee until she dumped her lawyer that was being paid for by Trump, got her own lawyer, then she started spilling the beans on everything about January 6th. So she's out with a new book, and this is what she writes in the book about Rudy Giuliani. And this happened, by the way, on January 6th, while Donald Trump was giving his Stop the Steal speech at that rally. I feel his frozen fingers trail up my thigh. He tilts his chin up. The whites of his eyes look jaundiced. My eyes dart to John Eastman, who flashes a leering grin. I fight against the tension in my muscles and recoil from Rudy's grip. Filled with rage, I storm through the tent on yet another quest for Mark Meadows, of course. She then continues later on, same day. I find Rudy in the back of the tent with, among others, John Eastman. The corners of his mouth split into a Cheshire Cat smile. Waving a stack of documents, he moves towards me, like a wolf closing in on its prey. We have the evidence. It's all here. We're going to pull this off. Rudy wraps one arm around my body, closing the space that was separating us. I feel his stack of documents press into the small of my back. I lower my eyes and watch his free hand reach for the hem of my blazer. By the way, he says, fingering the fabric, I'm loving this leather jacket on you. His hand slips under my blazer, then my skirt. Now, Giuliani has obviously not been charged. Cassidy Hutchinson did not file any charges against him. She did not file a lawsuit against him for any of this behavior. However, we do have another lawsuit filed by former Giuliani staffer Noelle Dunphy, where she alleges an inappropriate workplace, all kinds of horrific stuff that Giuliani allegedly did to her and forced her to do, according to her lawsuit. So this does fit with the pattern of behavior that Noelle Dunphy describes in her lawsuit. Again, those are all allegations. None of this has been proven. None of this, we don't have a bunch of witnesses that have come forward. I just want to make that clear. We're not saying Giuliani did this, but he now has multiple women that have accused him of similar behavior, one of whom, Noelle Dunphy, is in fact suing him. Giuliani did come out this week, and he's denied these allegations. He said in an interview on Newsmax with Eric Bolling, so probably not the best person to be discussing things like this with, as we all know, Terminator from Fox News. But anyway, Giuliani said, quote, she claims that I groped her in a tent on January 6th where all the people went in that were very, very cold as a result of the president's speech. I'm going to grope somebody with 100 people? First of all, I'm not going to grope somebody at all. And number two, in front of like 100 people? I mean, isn't it kind of telling that his biggest thing is like, hey, I wouldn't do that in front of all those people. I mean, I wouldn't do it anyway, but I definitely wouldn't do it in front of a lot of people. Like he made it clear to say twice that he wouldn't do that in front of other people, but only said once, I wouldn't do it at all. Like that's the kind of area where you start tripping over your own words, usually for a reason. Again, no charges have been filed against Giuliani, and Hutchinson is, of course, not suing him. But if we take this story into account with Noelle Dunphy's story, which, by the way, these claims from Hutchinson will likely be used in that Noelle Dunphy lawsuit. So that's something to keep an eye on. But if you're looking at this as like a prosecutor or a lawyer from that standpoint, you're starting to see a pattern of behavior emerge. And that is always something that's going to hurt in a lawsuit. Ring of Fire has fresh content 7 days a week, so if you want to be reminded about it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell to be notified every time a new video goes up.